You guys love the Sri Lankan chicken we did a few videos back, so I thought in this one we'd do something kind of similar to that, but this time we're going to be making tandoori chicken, which is so easy to make and tastes absolutely incredible. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright guys, to start this off, add 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of skinless and boneless chicken thigh into a large mixing bowl, and to this add in 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of ground cumin for an earthy warm flavour, 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of garam masala for a complex medley of spices, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of ground coriander for a savoury and herbal flavour, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of ground red chilli powder or Kashmiri for a subtle heat, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of sweet paprika for colour and sweetness, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of ground turmeric for even more colour and a musky bitter pepper flavour, and 1 cup or 250 grams of plain yogurt to coat and also tenderize the chicken, resulting in thighs that can easily be pulled apart. Along with that, season this with 1.5 teaspoons or 7.5 grams of sea salt flakes, remembering seasoning is always to your taste, then grate in 3 cloves of freshly peeled garlic along a fine microplane or grater to create a paste, which is also known as minced, making sure to scrape it all in there to avoid any wastage, and we're also going to do the same process with 10 grams or 0.4 ounces of fresh and peeled ginger, getting all of that good stuff in there. Last but not least, with 1 large lime, slice it in half, then with both halves, squeeze the juice to add a delicious citrus kick, which will also blend with all of the other ingredients to create a fantastic tasting and aromatic product. Now that that's all done, get your hands in there and massage those thighs, or use a spoon or tongs, whatever you're into, making sure that all the spices are completely blended together, well mixed through the yogurt and completely coating the chicken, getting in all of those nooks and crannies, then wrap this up nice and tight with whatever you'd like to use and allow this to marinate in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes, all the way up to 3 days, and the longer the better. When you're ready to cook, place a large pan onto your stovetop over a high heat, pour in 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of canola, sunflower or coconut oil, and carefully place in the marinated chicken, flat side down, and sear for 2.5 minutes or until golden and very slightly charred. Also do this in batches if your pan's not big enough. Once that's achieved, flip the thighs over and repeat a 2.5 minute sear, getting these nice and golden all over. After 5 minutes in total, remove the thighs, placing them onto a plate to rest for the time being, roughly for about 5 minutes to lock in those juices, and then repeat that same process with any thighs that didn't fit in the first time. These can then be placed onto a baking tray lined with parchment or baking paper, trying your best to not overlap them or have them touching each other for consistent colouring and cooking results. Any juices that were left whilst resting can also be poured over the chicken for even more flavour, then hit this up with a quick sprinkle of sea salt flakes to your taste, along with a few cracks of black pepper over each thigh, then make your way over to a preheated oven set to 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 16 to 17 minutes or until perfectly cooked through, depending on the size of your thighs of course. Now in the meantime, pour 1 cup or 200 grams of jasmine rice into a sieve and run it under cold water just until the water runs clear to wash out any excess starch and impurities. Place a saucepan onto your stovetop over a high heat, add in 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of clarified butter and allow it to melt. Then once melted, add in the washed rice, making sure to get it all in there, and then toast this off for 45 seconds to bring out a slight nutty flavour, mixing it around the whole time as it will easily stick and burn. Next, add in 2 cups or 500 milliliters of chicken stock to give our rice an increased flavour, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of ground turmeric to turn the rice yellow and add a nice musky peppery flavour, 2 fresh or 3 dried bay leaves for a piney flavour and aroma, and a small pinch of sea salt flakes for a nice seasoning. Give it a good mix to ensure the turmeric and salt are well mixed through, make sure to scrape down the sides of the saucepan so the rice is not stuck, and then bring this to a boil. Once boiling, reduce the heat to low, place on a lid, and then steam the rice for 16 minutes, not removing the lid at all. Now to make a delicious and fresh raita, place 1 cup or 250 grams of plain yogurt into a bowl, and for this we're going to need half of a large continental cucumber, saving the other half for something else. With our half, run it along the largest side of a grater to give us large strips, and some people like to squeeze out the excess moisture, but that's what gives us such a refreshing flavour, so I really don't recommend doing that, and also with the skin that will most likely be left over, you can just eat it. Next, we're going to need 2.5 grams or 0.1 ounces of both coriander or cilantro and mint, scrunching them both together to then give them a quick rough chop, which is better leaving it on the larger side and not too fine. These two together, along with the cucumber, will create the most amazing fresh floral flavour that will complement the chicken so well. To put this together, place in the largely grated half cucumber, along with the roughly chopped herbs, 1 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of ground cumin to add a warm and earthy flavour and fragrance, and a small pinch of sea salt flakes for a light seasoning. This can then be given a really good mix to combine those flavours, allowing them to become friends, and once well mixed, place it into the fridge for up to 4 days, or just until you're ready to serve. Going back to the rice, which has been steaming for 16 minutes, carefully remove the lid, watching out for that escaping heat. Remove and discard the bay leaves as we no longer need them, then fluff the rice up with a fork or a spatula. After 17 minutes in the oven, our tandoori chicken can then be removed, and then to serve this up, you can do it however you'd like to, but I like to lay down a bed of that delicious turmeric rice, adding on as much or as little as you'd like, then come through with the amazing tandoori chicken, placing it over the bed of rice. Pour over any juices that are left on the baking tray for even more flavour, and if you've seen a few of my recipes by now, you'll realise that I love coriander or cilantro. Don't forget to serve the raita, adding it on the side or straight over the top. The choice is completely up to you, and once all of that's done, we have one final step, and that is we can then dig in. So there we have it. This recipe right here serves 2 to 3 people, and like most of my recipes, it can easily be doubled, tripled and so on, or halved if you wanted to make less. As for storage and reheating instructions on this one, I will leave all of the details in the description below, just because there's a few different stages that you can stop and start, and it's a lot easier for me to write it rather than trying to explain it to you, and you don't want to hear me baffling on. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, comment, share, do all of that stuff. It really does help my channel out, and consider subscribing along with hitting that bell notification next to it so you never miss when I upload. Thanks for watching everyone, stay safe and enjoy.